Yep, shoot video in the morning is not usual for me, especially thanks my window which behind me. It is problematic to expose the light and any kind of lamps. Of course, if you want to get a good cinematic video and not overexpose it. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about, but just 1 second, I need to change something. Oh, it's much better. From the name of the video you probably guessed what is today's video about. I also won't waste your time and let's get started. Here is famous zoom lens Sony with focal length 18-105, constant aperture f4, GOSS and price nearly $700. At the beginning of this video I shot with this lens. It's very popular, many videographers know about this lens even today, and I was no exception. I have bought it and shot many videos, different kind of projects, sketches, YouTube videos, commercials and even weddings. I have bought it second hand and for its worth buying it provides excellent opportunities for all focal length but only in a good lighting. At that time I had only one lens, it's fixed from Sony, 35mm with aperture f1.8. That's why I really needed the second. As I said before, I bought it second hand for nearly $300 and got multi-purpose solution for all my needs. And what do you think? Tamron. Not Sony, not anyone who producing zoom lenses unexpected such as action from Tamron. The company released their new zoom lens for crop sensor E-mount cameras with focal length 17-70 and constant aperture f2.8 for nearly $800. This is not a commercial video, I have bought both lenses with my own money, so I will tell you about all their advantages and disadvantages. Of course we will test them and eventually we will decide whether you should buy a Tamron with an overpayment of almost $100 or will be better to keep the Sony lens which is cheaper. Okay, let's go ahead and start with Sony 18-105 and constant aperture f4. In short, this is the first Sony G lens created specially for E-mount cameras. It has a metal lens mount and it accepts 72mm filters. One of the special features is the zoom mechanism. Regardless of whether you are using the dedicated zoom lever or zoom ring, you are actually driving a zoom motor. Smooth, silent zooming makes sense when taking movies, but it's just fine for still photography as well. The lens body is made of metal based on a metal mount and not only that. It does not extend during focus or zoom actions, which is pretty much unique considering the very long zoom range. It's really cool, especially when you are using a gimbal. You don't need to balance it all the time. I am using gimbal Babyless from Jiyun and I didn't have any problems ever. Also, it has optical stabilization system and weighs 427 grams. And now let's talk about Tamron 1770 Di3 AVC RXD and constant aperture f2.8. This zoom lens is also for Sony's APCS E-mount cameras. It offers an impressively close 0.19 meters minimum focusing distance and a maximum magnification 0.21x. It has a metal lens mount and it accepts 67mm filters. This lens benefits from having Tamron's vibration compensation image stabilization system. It's an important feature if you own camera without metric stabilization such as my Sony a6400. It also has an RXD autofocus motor that delivers very fast and quiet autofocusing. Weighs 525 grams, it's heavier than Sony's, that's why I had to change some settings on my small gimbal Babyless. Because motors didn't work correctly after automatically setting and it was still shaking and vibrating. I think it was because my camera Sony is much lighter than the lens itself, which is why the weight on the stabilizer wasn't evenly distributed. In menu motor you need to change to custom and set the tilt for minimum allowable value. And that's all. The zoom ring is very smooth and well balanced. The focus ring turns easily and although its surface has ridges, they aren't rubberized or particularly comfortable. And now let's talk about autofocus and start with Sony 18-105. I cannot say that is bad, everything quite good, but what is going on with background and bokeh? Maybe it was something wrong with my lens, I don't know, but it's not normal I think. As you see, it's trying to focus even when I don't change my position in the frame. Tamron 1770 is different. The autofocus is speedy and works with all of your camera's tracking, face and eye detection features just as well as a native lens, and what is important, background and bokeh is perfect. And a few additional tests especially for you. As you probably see, Tamron 1770 is more sharper and faster aperture than Sony 18-105. In dark sense it will be quite difficult to use Sony with maximum aperture f4. In the same time, Tamron will handle it pretty well. Yes, it will be better to make your sense with a good light, but most often we cannot control it, especially when you need to fast shoot, right? I think there is too many words have been said and what is more important have been shown. In my opinion, Sony 18-105 it's really a good multi-purpose lens for the beginners, videographers for its price, but only if you will buy it on the second hand. It has quite good autofocus, good stabilizer and cool zoom mechanism. It is solid and it can cover all your needs. But I can't call it sharp and it's pretty dark. With this lens you can forget about a good picture in rooms without powerful lighting. What I cannot say about Tamron: fast aperture, sharp and great autofocus. And price difference about $100 if you are talking about new. Eventually I don't regret at all that I sold my Sony 18-105 and bought Tamron 1770. And if you are searching for the best zoom lens for APS-C E-mount cameras for videographers with a good price, Tamron 1770 it's a right choice. And if you like this video and you want to see more, make sure to give it a like, subscribe and turn on notification for more videos. Thank you for watching and see you soon.